I'm just saying it. I know somebody was gonna say it in the comments at some point.
ShinRobjira.
What's going on there, friends and neighbors? I am ShinRobjira, and today I am going to be talking about the Playmates Destoroyah figure. Before I can do that...
It is time for snippings.
Und Godzilla Destoroyah.
You might be Destroyer, but I am the Snipper.
Light snippings. There we are. Oh! And that is just hilarious. Snip. And not even try. Oh. And fell out like teeth. Where else are you? Oh, alright. That wasn't simple. Little upsetting. Here we have the box. Clear shell holding Destoroyah in place, including its tail. Nothing on the bottom. On the back, more of the same. Gigan, Shin Godzilla, Space Godzilla, Destoroyah. Alright, so I know I'm probably going to get some kind of hate for saying this, but I really don't hate this figure at all. I actually believe this is honestly the best Playmates Classics line figure. Well, one of the best at least. I mean, in terms of how Destoroyah looks, how the paint has somewhat settled on the thing. I definitely think next to Final Wars Gigan, this is definitely one of Playmates' better builds and better paint jobs. That doesn't mean that it is lacking of any kind of faults. There are many faults to talk about. It's just, in general, I don't think this is a bad release. Pretty much, at all, really? And plus, it even manages to do some things that the newer Bandai releases haven't done, and that's giving Destoroyah its second pair of wings.
Check it out. It's got wings.
I mean, I don't even think original Japanese Bandai release did that, so... It's nice to see some accuracy thrown into a Destoroyah figure, and it's nice to see this present beyond the Bandai America release. So, let us take a closer look. And by closer look, I mean closer look at articulation. This is what I do now. I do articulation first. So, at the head, you will be able to go all the way around. You will be able to do the same at the arms as well. You are going to have to put some force into it, but it is possible. Second verse, same as the first. You already know. Wow. Proof. It's possible. Legs can kick forward pretty decently far. They can't go back too far, although it really doesn't matter because of the pre-molded stance that these legs have. The feet can actually swivelly at the anklier. And the tail can spin all the way around at the base and at the tip. And when it comes to the wings can go all the way around as well. The smaller wings, though, they are capable of going all the way around, but I have a feeling they would pop out, and I really do not want to take a chance at breaking this, just because I really don't see any of the Destoroyah figures from Playmates on my local shelves, and they appear to be somewhat hard to come across in some areas. So yeah, I'm not going to push this, but these are capable of going all the way around. I imagine I wouldn't be breaking this if I tried, but okay, there you go. Am full of crap. Can't go all the way around. Got nothing to worry about. So that pretty much does it for articulation. Now, let's take a closer look at the details that this figure sports. Now, in taking a look at Destoroyah, you can see that it does suffer from some of the same problems the newer Bandai Movie Monster series release suffers from.
But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Overall, this figure really doesn't look that bad. Although, I will say, right up front, Destoroyah's upper row of teeth aren't even teeth! It's a milk mustache! I don't think Playmates even tried. Like the bottom row, yeah, you can tell that they're actually sculpted there. They're piss poorly painted, but... No wonder it's the Great Destroyer. Destoroyah drank its milk. That's terrible. It really is, though. Like, as much as I love this figure, that's pretty bad. But anyway, when it comes to Destoroyah's head over here, it is rather nicely detailed. I like that there is a different maroon, almost pinkish color on the crest over here. It's a very different switch up from other Destoroyah figures that I have seen. And there really is nice detail all around on the head. You got the armor, you got the horns, you got the crests. The mold ain't bad, and originally I did think that this was a direct copy off of the Bandai Movie Monster series release, but after looking at them side by side, it might not be so, but again, we'll talk about that soon. You know, we've got Destoroyah's chesticle thingy going on over here. The detail, as we go further down, though, is a little bit marred by the cheap plastic, as you can see. It really doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look awful either. I do like that Playmates managed to paint the claws, the tri-claws on the ends of Destoroyah's arms, and, you know, moving down towards the feet and everything. Okay, this is one of the major complaints I have with this figure, because, you know, I at least have to have a few. I don't like how stumpy the toes and all these horns are. I mean, in some senses, the horns on the knees are practically, you know, non-existent. Look at that. Originally, I thought this was done just to prevent, you know, kids from hurting themselves, but then you've got the shoulder pauldrons over here. These very, very solid horns on Destoroyah's shoulders, and yeah, then you got this too. I mean, yeah, this is a little bit more rubbery in a sense, but I don't know. I feel like if you did this, if you did that, if you did all this, these shouldn't have been an issue, but whatever. At least on the detail side of things do look nice over here. Again, much detail was lost to the cheap plastic over here, but for what it is made out of, it doesn't look too bad. You know, moving from the crotch to the butt to the tail area, you're going to get around the same amount of detail. The tip of the tail doesn't look half bad, and the rest of the tail doesn't look that bad either, you know? You even got some varying paint on Destoroyah's back over here that goes all the way up to the neck. Very nice. And since we are back here, I guess we can talk about the wings. The wings are the same base color as the rest of the figure. They've got no paint back here, but they do have some pretty nice details. I like that you can actually see like the spikes at the end of Destoroyah's mini wings over here. There's a little, very little bit of like a definition on the back of the wings over here to really show that they are muscular, they are strong, and they don't really look like crab legs. We've got nicks on the membranes over here, and turning the figure over, as we saw before, the bigger wings are going to have that same color on the crest, just a little bit darker, looking nice. It really helps the wings pop out a little bit. The smaller wings, though, are going to remain unpainted, which honestly I don't have an issue with just because they exist. But the detail on these smaller wings, pretty dang good. Truly, Playmates kind of went above and beyond in making these wings look good. And here is a closer look at one of the wings. As you can see, we got like some spikes up here. You can see that there is some form of like detail going on here. You can feel it in between these. It's got like that weird membrane feel to it. Honestly, it looks good on both wings. In fact, I like it so much, I really do wish that they painted the back of the wings and both of the mini wings with that. I'm sorry, I'm kind of doing this out of order, but I forgot to talk about the rest of the paint on the face. The horn has a scuff on it. I'm pretty much cursed to have scuffed Destoroyah horns for the rest of my life, I imagine. The yellow on the horn will be the same yellow you get on the eyes with this figure. They will not be a separate color as it was on the Bandai Movie Monster series Destoroyah or on the Bandai America Destoroyah. Like every other Bandai release of Destoroyah, the horns on the side of the mouth will not be fully painted. They will only be painted on the one side. These weren't painted very well either. And as I showed off earlier, the paint on the teeth, I mean, the sculpt is nice. At least you can see Destoroyah's tongue in its mouth. But the lack there of a top row of teeth is just interesting. I might feel some sculpted teeth. I'm not sure, actually. Let's take an even closer look. Yeah, I do not think there are any sculpted teeth there. And if there is, there's not a lot. I don't know, like looking at that, I feel like there might be little bumps there, but who could really tell just because this paint is so messy. Which is a shame, honestly, because I really don't believe Playmates botched this sculpt whatsoever. Again, I really do think this is one of the better looking Playmates figures. But with that being said, let us do the grandiose comparison, which is going to be the main driving point behind this video. So, editing movie magic. And there you have it. Bandai America, Playmates, Bandai Japan. So the first comparison I'm going to be doing is the Bandai America, then I'll do the Bandai Movie Monster series version, because I do feel these two have more in common with one another than these two do. So let's get started. Let's begin with the obvious, shall we? Playmates Destoroyah has some wings, and Bandai America Destoroyah has 4 wings. Not some wings, I don't know why I said that earlier. Now when it comes to the two figures and their wingspans, I really do think they're about even. I will say, however, though, I really do prefer how Bandai America's Destoroyah, I like how the wings stick out a little bit more. The Playmates one, unfortunately, they kind of lean backwards. You see what I'm saying? So you look here and they're kind of pointing backwards to kind of just like, close up like so. The one thing that I think Bandai America did right with their version, or Bandai Creation, is just the fact that these wings were on a swivel like so. They were on the side of the figure, and when you had them folded up, yeah, they did kind of jut out the side from a front profile view, but at the end of the day, the wings did just look bigger fully folded out. Bigger and better. So when it comes to comparisons, that's all I really feel these two have in common, aside from articulation. Unlike Playmates Destoroyah, Bandai America Destoroyah cannot move its head, but it can move its arms in practically the same direction. It can fold up its wings, not like the Playmates version, but it's still possible. There is going to be leg articulation, and unlike the Playmates version, you will get articulation in the tail, but it'll only be in the tip. The base has a glue seal. Other than that, I really don't see any similarities when it comes to the two sculpts. The shoulder horns on Playmates Destoroyah are longer and thicker than the ones on Bandai Creation Destoroyah. The legs are pretty different as well. As you can see, the armoring for the skin, they're both in mostly different places. Any similarities just feels kind of, silly. This Destoroyah does have the horns above the toes. They are just not painted. You're going to see the same design on the shins over here. When it comes to the chest area, this Destoroyah obviously looks a lot better. There's a lot more detail going on, and there was a lot of differentiating between the two. I don't know, you can see, like, this is a much bigger protrusion than it is on the Playmates one. I mean, it kind of does crawl up to the neck like that one does, so maybe I am wrong there. But you're going to see, a whole bunch of different bumps and grooves on this figure as compared to this one. Again, I do believe the detail was mostly lost to the cheap plastic. And originally I thought maybe they copied the crest from the Bandai America one, but looking at it now, it's mostly different. The horns behind the big horn are in 2 different places. This is just more so bigger than it is on the Bandai America one. I mean, you all can see with your eyes that the face sculpts are entirely different. Like, the two figures are very much different. In all honesty, I think aside from the wing posability, the arm posability, and the leg posability, there's really not much going on here that is anywhere near the same. In fact, Bandai America Destoroyah has more of a neck than Playmates Destoroyah has, but that is where we move on over to the Bandai Japan version. So, I am seeing some similarities between the two, but I am also seeing some glaring differences as well. Now, upon seeing the pictures for Playmates Destoroyah at first, the first thing I thought was sized up sculpt of this guy. But the crest on Destoroyah's head on the Playmates version is much longer and sharper than it is on the Bandai version. Everything else does seem to mostly be in place. I wonder if this was just a random thing that Playmates wanted to, accentuate on. But when it comes to looking at the horns on the back of the head, to the horns on the forehead, to the brow, to the way the mouth looks, I do think that there is a possibility that this could be a slight remolding of the Bandai Movie Monster series version of the figure, aside from both the horns being different lengths. Another differing point between the two is that this Destoroyah has horns both on top and below the shoulder horns. This one only has them on top, as you can see here, but not on the bottom. See what I'm talking about here? Also, this Destoroyah can't move its head, like this one can. This one can't move its arms, like this one can. It can only move its legs and its wings. But before I get into wings, when it comes to the torso, when it comes to the lower crotch region, I am seeing a lot of similarities here. The weird crease, the horns, even the chest. It's looking very, very similar. Like, I find it kind of hard to not believe this. Like, just looking at it, I'm really, really seeing it. And I'm really starting to appreciate the Bandai Movie Monsters re-release of the figure, the remold, because the detail on this thing really is awesome. But you see where I'm coming from, right? the chest, the lower torso, the crotch, the horns, the crease, everything, it's kind of all there. Another major differing part would simply just be the legs. I feel like these legs are much longer than the Bandai Movie Monster Series version. I started looking at the wings on the Bandai Movie Monster Series version, and I want you to pay attention to the nicks on the bottom of the wings here. See how we've got 3 here, 2 here, and 3 here? We've got none here, 3 here, 2 here, 3 here. They're all in the exact same places. Okay, hopefully this looks good enough, but they both do and do not have nicks and nicks in the same places on the wings. The wings overall are of the same design, except these are much thicker, these are much, much thinner, and I definitely do think the wings especially were remolds. I think a better part of the torso was a remold as well. But there are differing factors that go into this, especially in the head region, that makes me think Playmates took creative liberties with Destoroyah. Looking at the back of the figures, they both pretty much have the same stumpy neck. They both have the same detail going all the way to the tips of their tails. But even I was looking at the wings that were fused to the mold over here, and they do somewhat resemble these wings as well. But that right there, that might just be conspiracy Robjira there going out and kind of losing his shizzle. So at the end of all of this comparing, I do think that Playmates did a sized up version of the Bandai Movie Monster Series Sculpt, clearly with some creative liberties taken. I wouldn't say it's a 100% resculpting of this, but I do feel Playmates did take some points from the Bandai America Destoroyah. Wow, that doesn't look centered at all. So I guess you can call the Playmates version a happy fusion of the two. It's got the prime articulation of the Bandai America version, and it's got elements of details and such from the newer Bandai Movie Monster Series release. Also, here's your size comparison. I really do just love seeing Destoroyah with its wings spread out like that. Very intimidating look. But anyway, let's move on over to some more size comparisons. Here is Playmates Destoroyah with a Bandai Japan Godzilla Jr. Here is the Playmates Destoroyah with the Bandai Japan Burning Godzilla. I feel like no matter what, we're never going to get in-scale Godzilla and Destoroyah figures. Maybe SHMA. Or X+. I don't know. Here's Playmates Destoroyah with the Bandai Greymon into Metal Greymon figure. Playmates Destoroyah with 100% official, unofficial Fred the Red Pikmin. Kaiju Raijin. And another figure review that I've been putting off for much too long. There is a reason why I truly believe Playmates are not at their top game just yet. Even with Destoroyah being part of the rushed out Wave 1 releases, I do feel Playmates are onto something. I feel like they can get there. They can get to the point of Bandai. Now, I'm not officially sure if they just don't give a crap or if Toho really screwed them over on a budget or something like that. I don't know the ins and outs of this. I'm just playing by, example. But from what I'm seeing with their Destoroyah figure, with their Gigan figure, and a few other of their figures, they have the ability to turn out good content. It's just, if you ask me, the first wave was rushed, Playmates were given minimal amount of time, and they kind of just got shoved out. Kind of sounds like something Toho would do. So that's just my assumption. I really do not find this figure to be bad in any sense. It definitely has shortcomings, and it is very, very, very far away from being Playmates' worst Godzilla Classic Series figure. But anyway, let's cut back to my face and end this video off, shall we? Ha! Yeah. That's that. I don't hate this thing. It does have its issues, it does have its flaws, but I don't know, man. I can't really bring myself to hating this thing. It looks really good for what it is. Yes, it does have the milk mustache going on and everything, and the detail could be a little bit better if this were casted in something that's not cheap and plastic. But I really gotta hand it to Playmates. This thing isn't a pile of crap, to me personally. As I said before, I believe Playmates are on the cusp of really coming into their own when making Godzilla figures. Granted, I don't think we're going to see them reach Bandai Creation or Bandai Japan levels of supremacy. That's not even a word. But I do believe their future releases will become more and more acceptable over time. I'm saying that now, then the Classics Wave 2 figures come out and they all look like putty monsters. But anyway, I've been ShinRobjira. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you check out the description below, you'll find links to all my social medias, Twitch, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, the ShinRobjira Facebook page that I really don't use that much. And if you're into the music and you're here from the good old days of Crazy Calyx and Rob reviews, Thursday night at around 12-ish, I am going to be doing like a little listening party on Twitch. We're going to be listening to Joji's new album Nectar for the very first time all together, and maybe I'll be able to throw that up on the ShinRobjira channel afterwards. We will see, but I am doing that. That's going to be tonight, Thursday night, at around 12 o'clock, whenever the digital version gets shot over to my email address. And yeah, should be a lot of fun. And one more thing before we end this video off. Part 2 of the finale NECA trilogy will be posted next Friday. I will be talking about the NECA Godzilla 1989 Biolante Bio repaint figure. Remember, if you would like to be part of the big Thank You NECA compilation video that I will be releasing on November 6th, all the guidelines and everything will be in the description below of this video, and they're also in the description of 2 other videos as well, which will be linked at the end of the video and the description below. But anyway, I've been ShinRobjira. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please get your Thank You NECA entries in, and I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.